So why is poetry so important to me as a person? Why have I kind of aimed my life more strongly on the path of creative expression through poetry? Why have I done this? Why does it matter so much? Well, poetry is important because it is the one place in my life where I can tell the truth without apology, not the polished truth that I offer in conversation, not the careful truth I give when someone asks how I'm doing. It's the deeper truth, the truth that lives under the ribs, the one that doesn't always have a name until I write it down. It's the truth from the heart. It doesn't have a political agenda. It lets me slow down. It lets me tell a story directly from the heart. I think part of my poetry matters so much to me because it teaches me how to pay attention. The world moves fast, and I've spent too many years rushing through my own life, missing the small details that actually make it worth living. We spend many of our hours and days living other people's lives. What about the true essence of what my life means? What should I be living my life for in these fragile, finite years that I have here on earth? Poetry pulls me back. It asks me to notice the way the light falls across a table, how a memory returns at the exact moment I need it. It reminds me that nothing is too small to matter. When I write, I feel myself becoming more present, more awake, and more willing to see what is right in front of me. Poetry is a fresh perspective. It's a fresh perspective on things in your life. It's also where I go when life feels so heavy. There are days when my thoughts tangle, when my emotions get too big and complicated to hold. On those days, poetry becomes a kind of shelter. It can be a shelter for grief, a shelter for courage, a shelter for love. Sometimes a single line is enough to make the weight feel bearable. One line can do it. Poetry isn't the only thing that heals, of course. Poetry is about connection to healing. When I share a poem, whether on a stage, in a room full of strangers, or with one trusted friend, I'm offering a piece of myself. And when someone nods or smiles or tells me, hey, that really hit the core of me, that really made me think. If one person says that, that's enough. That's enough to really make me feel like, wow, this is something really important that I'm doing. There's also something mystical that poetry gives me. In its best moments, when a poem is written with clarity and courage and a kind of spiritual precision, it becomes so sublime that it transcends politics entirely. We have this back and forth of politics going back and forth, and you watch CNN and Fox News, it's just people going back and forth and not finding answers, back and forth, back and forth. Poetry just goes straight in. Poetry goes straight in. It does not engage in social games or trickery. It is just there, and it is what it is. We share the same fragile, luminous humanity. That transcendence feels like magic to me, that a poem can cut through all of this superficial garbage, that there's so much of it, and poetry can just whip right through it. We're talking about empowering, about shaping language into meaning. My friend G. Anthony talked about shaping one's own life through writing. And I believe it too. I believe we can express ourselves. We can reclaim our voices. We can shape our own lives by what we create. Poetry helps me understand who I am beneath the noise of the world. I want to repeat that one. Poetry helps me understand who I am beneath all the noise of the world. helps me remember the parts of myself I sometimes forget, the curious part, the tender part, the brave part that still believes in some kind of beauty. Poetry is important to me because it keeps me honest, it keeps me human, it keeps me connected to the world and to myself. And when I read poetry, when I read this week at an open mic, I will be giving myself, part of myself, to the audience. And hopefully there's some connection that the audience feels to me. And it's a 50-50 thing. It's back and forth. It's giving to each other. So it is something to live. It is something to help me shape my world. And that's what poetry means to me. Thanks, and have a good evening, and thanks for tuning in to my essays.